happening to me? Why is everything so small?
Our experiment is a success, Barstow. You're a Superman. I've made you a Superman.
But I can't move. My head is touching the skylight.
Stoop down, Barstow. There's a rolling door in the side of the laboratory. I think you can crawl through that. Easy, Barstow. Very slowly. That's it. Well, how does the world look now that you have some elbow room?
Small. The world is very small.
30 feet of muscle and bone. It's my creation. My creation. Let's have the report on our testing so far.
Well, as best I can figure, Doctor, the subject can lift almost 20 times as much weight as an ordinary man. Can run approximately 60 miles an hour without difficulty. Oddly enough, though, he appears to get along fine on 4 or 5 hours sleep a night. But he's consuming food at a rate that's all out of proportion.
Well, that's understandable. It's still making an adjustment. Go on.
Mentally, very superior. Appears to be able to solve the most complicated problems right in his head.
So, just as I predicted.
But this morning, though, after I just finished giving him the work test, he pulled up a tree by the roots and waved it at me. It was frightening. I ran, and he began laughing. It sounded more like thunder.
Weston, you're letting your imagination run away with you. It's quite obvious what's the matter. He's not getting enough exercise. We've got to give him more physical work to do. Come on.
There he is. Just sitting on that hill and staring.
Barstow!
Yes, Dr. Ellsworth.
I want you to take this special shovel we've made for you and dig a trench. Weston will mark it out for you and check your working speed.
All right, Dr. Ellsworth. Whatever you say.
See? It's quite simple. You've just got to keep him occupied.
Dr. Ellsworth, I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes?
What are we going to do with Barstow? I mean, when are we going to tell the world about it? We can't go on continuing this way.
Of course we can. And once we're sure of ourselves, we'll get other men. We'll make giants of them. We're building a race, Weston. A race of supermen with which we can rule the world. We've only to learn how to control Barstow so he'll respond to our every command. And then we'll build an army.
Doctor, that's not right.
You know, Weston, you're a good assistant. It's only when you think that you get into trouble.
Barstow, are you awake?
What do you want?
I must talk to you. Dr. Ellsworth wants to use me for the next experiment.
Oh? What's that to me?
I don't think you understand. He's working on a method to control you electronically as a giant. It's what he's been waiting for. And when he can finally control you, he'll begin to make more giants. Wants to build an army of giants so he can take over the world.
That isn't true. Dr. Ellsworth is interested only in science. You just don't want to be a freak as I am. Cut off from everything. Just because I was unlucky at drawing lots.
No. Not unlucky, Barstow. Framed. Dr. Ellsworth and I agreed to volunteer just to get you to volunteer. We arranged the lot so that you would be chosen. No, please, Barstow. That's why I let you know. I wanted you to do something about it before it's too late. Now, what are you going to do? Where are you going?
Ellsworth. Dr. Ellsworth.
Barstow, what are you doing at my window?
I've come to tell you I can't go on with these experiments. I'm through, Dr. Ellsworth.
You're raving, Barstow. Go back to your quarters in the barn and we'll talk about it in the morning.
I can't go back to the barn.
Why not?
I'm tired of living in the barn. I knocked it down.
Calm down, Barstow. Calm down before you do any more damage.
Yes, Dr. Ellsworth, that's just what you'd like, isn't it? For me to calm down, to become nothing but a giant tool in your hands, a tool for conquest and revenge. Isn't that so, Dr. Ellsworth?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, all right. And what's more important, I know, Dr. Ellsworth. I know that you tricked me into volunteering for this experiment.
What if I did? You were the best physical specialist.
You'd stop at nothing to carry out your hideous experiments. Future of mankind. That's a good one. You're not interested in mankind at all. You're only interested in building a super race for your own ends. You want an army of giants so you can take over the world.
You're mad, Barstow. You are my subject, and you have no right to behave this way. If I had the control of finish... You'll knock out that wall.
Yes, Dr. Ellsworth. And that's just what I ought to do to you. You have no more right to live than I. How much strength does it take for a 30-foot man to kill an ordinary man with his fist, Dr. Ellsworth? Figure that out.
What are you going to do?
I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm going to let the World Science Council know about your experiments. They'll know what to do about you.
But you can't leave. You're a monstrosity. The world won't understand you, Barstow. Besides, you have an obligation. You must sacrifice yourself for science. He's gone? Yes, all my plans ruined.
Yes.
Weston, you did this to me. You told him about my plans.
Yes, Dr. Ellsworth, I did.
Oh, you've ruined the experiment, Weston. You betrayed science. You have no right to live.
Who are you to decide these things?
Come inside, Weston, now.
A gun?
Right. Come along now, Weston. There's one last experiment I want to perform. I'm curious to see how a man can stand up against a giant rat.
No, please, Ellsworth. I'll do anything you want. I don't want to die. I'll be the subject of a new experiment.
Too late, Weston. Should have thought of those things before. Stand still. There. Right by the cage.
Shut up.
Now. Don't push me in. No, let that go. I don't see it. I don't leave. No.
Gee, Helen, I'm sure glad the old man let me have the jet try tonight.
Oh, it's a lovely night to go riding with you, Bob.
Say, Helen, you hear something?
The motor, you mean?
No, listen.
I hear it now, too.
I can't imagine it. Oh, well, I guess...
Look, Bob, over there.
This looks like a man.
So big. Oh, Bob.
It's a giant standing in the road in front of us.
Turn the car around, quick. Oh, Bob.
Lifting us with his hand.
Why are you afraid of me? I just want to talk to you. I won't hurt you.
Put us down. Put us down, you monster.
I'm not a monster. I'm not.
Oh, we're back on the road. He didn't hurt us.
What are you going to do?
Going to the police. They've got to know about this giant.
Calling all rockets, ground and space patrol. Converge on Trickster 47 immediately. Strange creature molesting jet travelers on Highway 9. Reported human interference. 30 to 40 feet high. May be dangerous. Repeat, may be dangerous.
They've lost rockets, Jim. This is our meet. Just our luck. Probably an invader from Mars.
To all rockets, Check destroyer guns before moving in the danger area. Repeat, check all weapons.
See anything yet, Jim? Nothing, sir. Hold on. There's something moving in field 7. Well, I'll be. It's a man. But what a man. Rocket 117 to control tower. Located creature moving rapidly in the direction of McKenna City. We're closing in.
Very good, 117. Keep on it. We'll have all available rocket cars join you.
Okay, Jim, we're near enough now. Safety off destroyer guns. We'll fire a couple of warning shots to slow him down. Safety off. Fire. He's stopping. He's waving his hands. We'll circle him. Keep circling.
17, Joe. Central control.
Come in, 117. Come in.
Battling giant. Prepare to move in for a closer look. Guns ready. Orders. Repeat. Orders. He's swinging. Reverse engines. Reverse engines.
Central Control calling 117. Central Control calling 117. They don't answer, Commissioner.
Confound it. Why can't we get a video screen fix?
I'm working on it, sir.
Give me that microphone. All police jets and air rockets. All jets and air rockets. Attention. Attention. Rocket 117 has been attacked by the giant. Contact has been lost. Take battle formation blue. Prepare for attack. Prepare for attack. Good luck. We'll blast that creature out of existence.
What could it be, sir? A man from another planet?
It's possible. We can only get that video fixed.
Oh, I'm getting it, Commissioner. Look. There he is. Good heavens, what an enormous creature.
Yes, I see it. Calling all rockets. Take elevation 3,000 and prepare to dive on target. I've got to see the police commissioner.
You can't. It's a battle emergency. Who let you in the control room?
It's about the giant. We've got to stop your attack. Are you crazy? That creature's a menace. He's knocked down one of our rockets, and now we're going to get him. But you don't understand, sir.
Squadrons at elevation 3,000. Targets in view. Look, Commissioner, on the video screen. We're ready to open up on them, sir. Just give the order.
No. You've got to call off the attack.
Commissioner, look to the right of the giant, near that small hill. Those two men are from Rocket 117. They're walking unmolested toward Junction 9.
Thank God they're all right. There, you see, he's not dangerous. Stop the attack.
That creature's been running berserk.
Transmit the command for all ships to hold their positions until I give the order, unless the giant attacks them.
Yes, sir. Orders to all.
Now, look here, sir. What do you know about that creature? Is he from another planet? Etc. Man, what do you know? He escaped from a government antibiotic laboratory. He was a subject of an illegal experiment. I'm Dr. Weston. I work in that laboratory. Well, Earth man or not, he's a madman. We've got to do something about him. You don't have to do a thing. It'll all be over in a few minutes.
Something's happened. I don't see the giant anymore.
What do you mean, all over, Dr. Weston? Look at the video screen. There. That's what I mean. Good heavens. It's amazing. Squadron Leader 20 to Control Tower. Something's happened here, sir. I don't see the giant has disappeared. What are our orders? All police jets and rockets. Attack canceled. Repeat. Attack canceled. So you see, Barbara, I had to thank Weston after all. He's a disagreeable character, but if he hadn't acted so promptly as soon as he found out, those rockets would have finished me.
Ellsworth tried to kill Weston, didn't he, after you broke away?
Yes, with the rats. Weston managed to get outside the cage, and they killed Dr. Ellsworth instead. Then shortly after that, the rats fell into a coma, and Weston examined one by X-ray, and he discovered that the new bone structure was in the process of dissolving into cartilage, and that cartilage into flesh, which would soon melt away. And he realized their size had only been maintained by the injections, and they'd soon be back to their original skeletal structure. That's why he went to the police.
Yes, but how did he know you'd shrink, too?
Because they stopped giving me the injections.
Oh, seeing you here like this, I can't believe all those stories in the paper about you. A horrible picture.
I can hardly believe it myself, Barbara. It's like a bad dream. Oh, yes. Here's what I came back for. Dr. Ellsworth's safe.
Oh, what's in it?
Here they are. And here they go.
You're burning them.
Years of scientific research up in flames. Huh. But I don't want another man ever to go through what I did. Cut off from humanity to be just a specimen in some scientist's zoo. I found out one thing, Barbara. Thickness isn't a matter of size. A man can be 30 feet tall or he can be 6 feet tall. It's what he has in his heart that counts. This world doesn't need bigger, more powerful physical specimens. It needs men with bigness of soul who can love, respect their fellow men.
Next week, another exciting story on 2000 Plus. The strange adventure of a man who found nothing and was terrified. Be sure to listen next week to Alone. 2000 Plus is produced by Dreyer and Winolson Productions Incorporated. In today's cast, Joseph Julian was Barstow, Henry Norrell was Ellsworth, Lon Clark was Weston, Bryna Rayburn was Barbara, Morton Lawrence was the police commissioner, and Bruce Evans was Parker. The script was written by Julie Snyder. The music was composed by Elliot Jacoby, the orchestra conducted by Emerson Buckley. Sound, Walt Shaver and Adrian Tenner. Engineer, Bob Albrecht. This is Ken Marvin speaking.
Maybe you're sort of tired of eating the same old thing day after day. Maybe you'd like to try something different, something delicious, something with a marvelous flavor that just knocks the spots off any other cereal you've ever tried. Now, if that's the case, why don't you ask your mother to let you have a big bowl of crackly, crunchy, golden brown Wheaties flakes tomorrow morning? Ask your mother to let you have a cereal you'll really like the taste of. Ask her for the big, husky cereal for wide-awake fellows and girls who not only start things, but who see them through. Your mother will be mighty glad to let you have Wheaties, too. For most any fellow's or girl's mother wants to see them eat a big bowl of a nourishing whole wheat cereal every morning. And your mother probably knows, too, that authorities now recognize that Wheaties supply the very same amount of heat-producing units you need to help keep your body warm these cold winter days as a cooked cereal does. So you can be sure she'll be glad to let you have all the Wheaties you want to eat this winter, if you ask her for them. Remind your mother to always look for the famous seal of acceptance of the Committee on Foods of the American Medical Association whenever she buys Wheaties. That seal means much to her. It tells her that Wheaties are a pure product, honestly advertised. And another thing, remind your mother that lots of grocers are featuring Wheaties and bananas now. Ask her to get some of each next time she goes to the store. Try that delicious breakfast combination tomorrow morning. You'll say it's swell.
Try Wheaties. They're whole wheat with all of the brands. Won't you try Wheaties? For wheat is the best food of man. They're crispy, they're crunchy the whole year through. Jack Hampton never tires of them, and neither will you. So just buy Wheaties, the best breakfast food in the land. Once upon a time there was an engineer. Choo-choo Charlie was his name, we hear. He had an engine and he sure had fun. He used good and plenty candy to make his train run.
Charlie says, love my good and plenty. Charlie says, really rings the bell. Charlie says, love my good and plenty. Don't know any other candy that I love so well.
Everybody's talking Tempo, the new filter cigarette.
Far more charcoal, far more charcoal.
How does all that flavor get through all that charcoal in that new filter cigarette?
Tempo, the secret's in the structure of Tempo's all new filter. Try the new filter cigarette, Tempo.
Tempo brings you far more activated charcoal than in previous filter designs. The first bonded charcoal filter, a new kind of filter for a taste too good to miss. White Estron Filter 2. No health claim is made for Tempo. Only the promise of easy draw, smoother taste.
How does all that flavor get through all that charcoal in that new filter cigarette?
Tempo, the secret's in the structure of Tempo's all new filter. Try the a new filter cigarette Campo.
Constipation can be a problem for anyone, even doctors. And when constipation occurs, it's interesting to see just what doctors consider important about a laxative they might use or recommend. Well, a majority of the doctors we heard from had this to say.
A laxative should be effective, gentle, close to natural acting. A medicine that can be used with complete confidence.
Now, X-Lax has been popular with many doctors and millions of people over the years because chocolated X-Lax is effective. Overnight, it helps you toward your normal regularity. X-Lax is so gentle, so close to natural acting, there's no upset. That's why many doctors and millions of people use X-Lax with complete confidence. X-Lax, the laxative that helps you toward your normal regularity, gently, overnight.
WGNS, your good neighbor station, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Oh.
Sometimes it's fun to try to pitch yourself against a puzzle. Try considering tonight's story as a puzzle. It's a story about a monster. That's a familiar theme in science fiction and fantasy. But tonight's story deals with an impossible monster. See if you understand enough of the relationship of living things to figure out why this monster is impossible. When men go out into space, sooner or later in their explorations, they're going to meet somewhere on some world something that's mighty darn dangerous. And the real danger is that it might be brought home unknowingly. That's a kind of unpleasant thought at times, isn't it? I wonder how deadly, how disastrous a thing might be brought home.
It's past 10. Marge, when is this brother of yours getting here? Midnight?
Oh, Dave, don't start getting upset about it. Sounds a little late. Don't forget, it's 5 years since he was last on Earth.
5 years or no 5 years. The ship landed 7:30. It doesn't take 3 hours to get here from the spaceport.
Well, maybe there's some routine he had to go through before he could leave the customs. I understand there's a comprehensive medical examination for all returning from outer space.
That's all we need. Some weird disease he picked up on Alpha Centauri 5.
No, they wouldn't let him near civilians if he had any such diseases.
Well, all I can say is that if he doesn't show his face here by 11, I'm going to go upstairs and go to bed. I need my sleep.
Oh, there he is now, Dave. Oh, I knew he'd be here on time. Now, be nice to him, Dave. He is my brother, after all, and I haven't seen him since 89.
Okay, I'll be polite. I'll go let him in. Oh, there. Come on, right on in. My name is Dave Sporling.
Thanks. I appreciate this, Dave.
Oh, Ted. Oh, Ted.
Hello, sis. Well, stand back and let me look at you. This is a big girl now, isn't she?
Well, I'm almost 24. I married Dave 3 years ago.
Well, you haven't changed much in 5 years. Same red hair, that dimple, freckles on your nose.
Was there much red tape before you could leave customs?
Just a medical exam. They gave me a quick look to make sure I wasn't carrying the plague. I was cleared through around 8:15.
Oh, you must have stopped off for a little nip before coming here then, huh?
No, I came straight here from the spaceport.
Oh, but it only takes half an hour by rocket tube.
No one said anything to me about a rocket tube. I took the subway.
The subway? Oh, really? Now the subway all the way out here? No wonder it took you so long.
Say, the rocket tube's only been in operation for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
That's why Ted didn't use it.
Yeah.
He didn't know it existed.
The world changes more than you think in 5 years. The new model autos that drive themselves, 3D video, the robots. Those things were all new when I last was on Earth. Now they're commonplace to everyone except me.
Come on into the living room. You'll probably want to rest up. I'll give you a drink, put a little music on.
And you can tell us all about your 5 years in space.
Ah, Redenoff. You miss him out in space.
Hey, can I dial you a drink?
Scotch, thanks. I'll take it neat.
Oh, same old Ted. Still likes the same music and still drinks the same kind of drink.
It's only been 5 years. I haven't been away forever.
Can you tell us where you've been? Or is that classified?
Well, some of it is. But I covered a lot of ground. You ought to see the night sky on Deneb 9, Marge. 500 little moons up there like whirling knives in the darkness. And the 17th planet of the Vega system, 2 billion miles from its sun, and yet there's that great blazing light in the sky, so bright that we had to wear special eye lenses.
Join the Space Force and see the galaxy. It's really true.
Stu, it's good of both of you to offer to put me up while I'm on ground leave. No treat to be in a world where you have no friends and only one living relative.
Oh, don't mention it, Ted. How long did you say that you were staying?
3 weeks. That's all right with you.
And then you go back to space for another 5 years?
That's right. Survey trip this time. Around the galactic rim.
How exciting that must be.
It's just his job, after all, Marge.
Well, but how much more exciting it must be to be a spaceman than a newspaper man.
You a newspaper man, Dave?
I work for one of the system-wide news services.
That's a job that keeps humming all the time. We spacemen spend 3/4 of our time drifting through nowhere between planets, playing solitaire, watching old films, and thinking about Earth.
Yes, but when the waiting's over, when you finally reach another sun and walk on alien soil.
Yes, then it becomes worthwhile. Well, you must excuse me. I've had a busy day. Aboard ship and then getting out here.
Of course. If you'd like me to show you up to the room, why...
I appreciate that. Gee, this house is so full of new gadgets that I hardly know what anything does. Now, this thing over here...
Watch out, don't! Ted, your arm!
My arm's all right, Lauren.
Look, that was the water disposal unit. Anything you put in there gets converted into energy.
Oh, but look, I pulled my arm back in time, see?
Yeah, but we heard the sound. When you activate the unit, it crackles like that.
And I saw your hand in there up to the wrist.
You're both imagining things. All I did was toss a piece of candy in to see what would happen. My hand didn't come anywhere near it.
But I saw your hand go in, Ted. And the disposal field crackled. And yet your hand's all right. I don't understand it.
I tell you, my hand didn't come anywhere near it, Marge. Dave, would you show me to my room? I'm pretty worn out.
But I saw his hand go in. I saw it.
Living organism, anywhere, is to be able to meet its environment, to survive, to handle the situations it encounters, handle them at least well enough to maintain its own existence as a species. It's not so obvious that you can overdo that, but you know you can.
He's all moved in upstairs in the guest room. Seems pleased with the layout. Well, suppose we turn in now, huh? It's past 11, isn't it?
Dave, I'm worried.
About what? That business about the disposal unit? Oh, it must have been our imagination.
No, I saw him clearly put his hand into that field. But when he took it out again, his hand was whole. And there are other things.
Like what?
He's different somehow, Dave.
Different? Well, sure he's different. 5 years.
No, it's not just the 5 years. His voice isn't quite the same anymore. Something weird about the way he speaks now. And his eyes, they have a faraway look. He was never like that before. Dave, he's changed. And I'm afraid of him now.
You're afraid of your own brother?
I'm afraid that he isn't my own brother anymore.
Oh, come
Dave,
on.
no, I don't know what I'm saying, I guess, but... Well, I do feel strange about his being upstairs. As if something dangerous had entered our house.
What should I do about it? Go upstairs and ask him if he's a monster in disguise? Oh, Marge, he's your brother, and you invited him here.
No, but I'm worried.
And what am I supposed to do about it? It really, believe me, it's all in your imagination.
Dave, didn't you see him stick his hand into that disposal?
No, I didn't.
But you said... But Dave, you're just making that up. You saw it as clear as I did.
What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go upstairs and ask him to leave? He can spend his furlough in some hotel.
No, of course we can't do that.
Well, then leave me alone.
But would you do one thing for me?
What is it?
Go upstairs to his room. He probably isn't asleep yet, but maybe he's getting undressed. And try to get a look at him. My brother had a scar on his chest about 5 inches long, starting from his left collarbone and running down diagonally. He got it when we were kids. And see if the man upstairs has that scar, too.
No, look, Marge, you said that he liked the same drinks and the same music he always did. So why...
Why did you go upstairs and look? You could tell him you just stopped in to see if he was comfortable.
This is ridiculous, Marge. Spying on your own brother to see if he's a thing from outer space.
I'll feel happier if you go up. Oh, won't you, Dave?
All right. All right, if it'll stop you from worrying, I'll go see if he's awake. I saw your light was still on, Ted, so I figured I'd stop in.
Why do you enter my room without knocking?
Your face is...
My face is different?
What? You look like me now. My face, that is, not yours.
I'm simply practicing.
Practicing?
Oh, don't go away. Come here, Dave.
What are you?
I'm your brother-in-law, Dave.
What's your face? And your hands?
Didn't Marge tell you that I had such abilities?
No, of course not.
I guess she didn't know. I couldn't do things like this before I visited Altair 6 2 years ago. Altair has a very interesting form of native life. At the moment, nobody knows of the existence of this life form but me. It's a mimic.
Mimic?
When a spaceman known as Ted Kennedy was exploring Altair 6 2 years ago, he wandered off alone to look for wildlife. There was a big brown stone in his way. He kicked it, but the stone clung to his boot. It wasn't a stone, you see. It was a mimic.
I don't know what you're talking about. Get out of my way and let me out of this room. You must be out of your mind.
Ted Kennedy never knew what happened to him. Within 10 seconds, the mimic had absorbed him, swallowed him up. Flesh, brain, memories and all. When the mimic had fed, it realized what a lucky find it had made. A spaceman who would be going back to Earth someday. The mimic can divide itself infinitely. It left part of itself there in its old disguise of a stone. The rest of it went back to the spaceship disguised as Ted Kennedy.
Marge said you were different, that something had happened to you.
I have all of Ted Kennedy's memories. As far as anyone can tell, I am Ted Kennedy. Right down to the last molecule. And my crew members, who were all absorbed by the mimic and who are on leave now.
Oh, a whole ship of you spreading all over the Earth.
Exactly. Come here, Dave.
Now, let go of me.
Don't try to resist. It'll just take seconds, Dave.
Marge!
Just a moment more, then it'll be over.
Marge!
There. Finished.
There was an island, and there were 1 million sheep on this island, and somehow a couple of tigers got on the island. My, wouldn't they have a high old time. Eating those sheep would be so easy for them. Wonder how they'd make out, they and their progeny. My, they sure could live high, couldn't they?
Dave, you were gone a long time. I was getting worried.
He wasn't undressed yet. I had to wait to see the scar.
Oh, he had it then, did he?
Of course. Big purple slash across his chest when he got cut. Time he tried to climb that picket fence.
You mean he told you how he got that scar then?
What? Oh, yeah. He told me all about it. How you and he were stealing apples years ago and how the farmer came to chase you. He jumped over the fence, but he cut himself going over, and you were stuck in the orchard because you couldn't get over the fence.
And he told you that?
Yes.
He never told anyone that story. He was so ashamed that he left his kid sister behind him and tried to get away. And he made me swear that I'd never tell anyone about it.
Well, he told me.
I guess 5 years does change a man. Oh. Well, it's almost midnight now. You'll be dead in the morning if you don't get some sleep, Dave. Come on, let's turn in.
For just a minute, Marge.
Dave, why are you looking at me that way?
Here.
I am here.
No, closer. Let me hold you in my arms.
Oh, why so lovey-dovey here in the living room, Dave? Dave, you look so strange.
Let me hold you.
Dave, your eyes, you look different. What's wrong with you? What happened to you upstairs? What's going on in this house?
Let me hold you, Marge.
Let go of me. You're holding me too tight, Dave.
Just a moment, Marge, and then you'll be one of us.
Dave, what are you doing to me? Dave. I don't understand. It's just hurting me.
Only a moment more before absorption, then you'll be part of us, like you and me and Ted. And soon the whole world... Marge. That's all there is to it, see? A few moments while our organism absorbs yours, then a split, and a new Marge Spaulding appears.
It's odd. I remember everything I did as Marge, clear and sharp. Only now I'm you too, Dave. And Ted. And all the members of Ted's ship crew.
And soon, everyone in the world, all merged into us.
I see it's all over. I waited until you had converted it.
Yeah, we better sleep now, build up our energy, and every time tomorrow we get someone alone...
We convert him into us.
Simple. Quick. All this food waiting for us on this planet. Billions of human beings. All ours. Answer it.
Why, it's Mr. Adams from next door.
Hello there, Mr. Spaulding. I know it's late at night, and I hope I'm not intruding, but I was just coming home from the movies, and as I passed by outside, it sort of seemed to me that I heard screams coming from in here.
Yes, that's right. It was my wife screaming.
Mrs. Spaulding? But you seem so calm. I mean, well, I guess everything's under control.
Yes, everything is under control.
Yes, well, if that's the case, I guess I'll be going on along home then. I'm sorry to have bothered you. I just thought maybe you might be needing some help.
We appreciate that very much, Mr. Adams. Won't you step in for a moment?
Well, it's quite late, and as you say, everything's under control.
All the same, if you'd come inside.
Yes, do come in. I'll fix you a little nightcap.
Well, just for a moment. I've always believed in being neighborly. I guess I'll come in if you're nice enough to ask me.
We're glad to have you, Mr. Adams. Here, don't stand and haw. Come in. Close the door.
Well, it's nice of you to ask me in, Mrs. Spaulding. Yes, sir. It's right nice of you to invite me in.
To those tigers on that island with 1 million sheep. They'd starve to death, of course. They'd eat all the sheep. Then there'd be nothing to eat but tigers. They aren't good eating, I understand, even for a tiger. What do you think would happen to a monster on any planet, which is just an island in space, that became so successful that nothing could fight it? It'd starve to death, of course. That's an impossible kind of monster. There never could be such a monster as is discussed in this story.
And there you go. Today's puts an end to today's old time radio, Gary J's radio, with the old time radio, Radioland, and we leave Radioland and go now back to the 21st century, 2017. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Radioland. Coming up on our next show, got some good stuff coming up for you in November, and we'll talk about those briefly, but I want to remind you of the program change announcement. I had made a mistake yesterday when I mentioned the Rock Worship program. Rock Worship will not be heard next week. That is the 17th. But we will have Rock Worship on the 24th. The Gary Russell program will be on the air on the 23rd, so I don't want to make a mistake that I thought I made yesterday and put in the wrong date on there. We will not be on the air next Tuesday. No broadcast on the air next Tuesday. We're also not going to be on the air tomorrow. We'll be back on the air Friday with Crooners, so I hope you'll join me at 12 o'clock noon Central for some of those great sounding music from the artists like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. So I hope y'all tune in for that broadcast. Next time we get together for Radioland, we're going to go back to 1938. Halloween, October 30th, in that famous classic radio, Mercury Theater of the Air, War of the Worlds. Our annual running of the War of the Worlds will be on, followed by Lights Out, which is going to be a great show, and Inner Sanctum. That's all coming up on our next edition of Radioland for Halloween. We get back together with Radioland. We're going to have some great stuff coming up in November, including Lux Radio Theater, Springtime at the Rockies from May 22nd, 1944, and Dr. Kildare. Yep, he started on radio back in the 1930s, and was a series of movies, and of course, Lionel Barrymore played the part in that, I believe. That was a show that was easily transitioned to television, but it started on radio, and I'm going to play you an episode from February 1st, 1950, Dr. Kildare. And they'll have Father Knows Best, Bad Barbecue, and we're going to have Abbott and Costello in comedy, all coming up on the next edition of Radioland, so I hope you'll tune in for that broadcast right here on GJRB. I'm Gary J. Rustin. Thanks a lot for listening to Radioland here on GJRB Online, and we'll have another edition of these classic radio programs next time on GJRB. And once again, that's it for Radioland. Have a great afternoon.
For you not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy, New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pandemics, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. America's Street Music is back on GJRB, Bluegrass with the Grassgolds, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, and on more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle, with all the great songs you heard before, and some new up-and-coming stars with some emerging bluegrass. Also, some all-time gospel favorites, too. At a brand new time, every third Saturday at 12 noon Central on GJRB. Strange things in the sky and around the world. Strange beings sighted. What's going on? All around us, conspiracy theories are being discussed. This is the show all about the strange things that are way out there. I'm Gary Rustin, and this Way Out There's back with more weird stories of the strange and the bizarre. Keep looking up in the sky and let me know what you see. Way out there. Every third Friday at 2 o'clock Central on GJRB. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end-time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB.
This is GJR Broadcasting.